Hi there, my name's Sean J Vincent, and today I'm going to talk to you about the SmallRig Atomos Shogun cage. Anyone that's used an Atomos Shogun will know that the construction quality has been slightly compromised in order to keep it to a certain weight, I think. Which I really appreciate when I'm using it on a gimbal or something like that. I tend to use it without a cage. I just use it as is because it's nice and light and it's perfect like that. In some environments, when it's on a different kind of rig, you could do with it being a little sturdier, and that's where cages come in handy. Don't know if you guys remember, but a few months ago I reviewed the Shape cage, which was very well made, excellent piece of kit, had some really great features. This is a similar product from SmallRig, but it has some interesting things that I really like about it. First of all, like most cages, it's covered on all sides with mounting points, 1/4, 20 and 3/8. And there's a really interesting military style accessory grip along the bottom. You know the rails they have on the top of like an M16 machine gun or whatever? For some reason it has that all along the bottom. So I presume that's another mounting thing I've just not seen before that is used in film equipment. Maybe it's unique to SmallRig, I don't know. But I've tested that. I actually have a prop M16 and the handle clips straight on there. I'm not sure why. Anyway, there you go. Some interesting things. I'm just going to refocus to show you this. On the ends, obviously where the sockets go, there's some nice big recesses on this, so you can fit any kind of HDMI plug you want. I don't know if you remember on the Shape one, it was very narrow and you couldn't get many in there. There's also a nice big, space opening for the headphone socket and for the power cable. That's great. You also get this really cool little HDMI cable clamp, which is actually really useful and works really well with pretty much any brand of HDMI cable. On the other end, you've got obviously the recesses, so you've got the power button and the audio connection and everything else. Still more mounting points as well. Yeah, general construction really solid. To fit it in, let me just refocus. To fit the Shogun into the cage, basically there's these points at the front which stop it coming through. You push it in from the back, and then there's one Allen bolt in the bottom, one in the top, and that's it, and it holds it very solidly in there. A couple of really cool things which I've not seen before. So there's this little sliding catch on the side where the disc goes, which stops this from coming off. I've got to admit, I've never had a disc fall off my Shogun, but I can imagine there are times where possibly in the right environment, it might be in danger a bit. So yeah, it clicks in and it holds it in very tightly, and you just pull that release and it lets it out again. That's a cool little feature, I like that. Other things I like, its weight. For a cage, it's pretty light. You may have noticed there are some 15mm rod connectors on here. Therefore, if I go to the box, it comes in this little box. They've also sent me these, I think they come separately, you have to buy them separately. You buy these tiny little rods, they're about 2 inches long. And then you can mount these into the ends. Now, obviously, the main reason I would think you would probably do that is to use it as a director's monitor. You'd have a radio receiver on the back of the Shogun. Your DIT guy would be sending you, a signal from the camera, and you wander around happily looking at your monitor. Great, these handles are quite comfy. Couple of issues with that. Firstly, it's so close to where this cable clamp is, and obviously where the cables are going to be going, that it's kind of a bit awkward. You can't quite get your fingers through these holes here. I mean, I've not got massively fat fingers, but it's quite a squeeze to get your fingers through there. To pull that out to make it more comfortable, there's not enough rod there, if you see what I mean. So that's kind of not working from that point of view. That's a little odd. Obviously, if you twist them a bit, you can then use it as a desk mount. It works, I guess, but it's not ideal, that part of the design, if I'm honest. But as a cage, I think it's actually pretty good. I've probably used 3 different ones now, and this is probably the best one for what I want to use it for, which is when it's mounted on the camera. I think the Shape one is better for a director's monitor, purely because of their handle design, which I've got on this cage at the moment. You can see this sort of one click and re-angle is really hard to beat. So from that point of view, I prefer the Shape one. But just as an actual cage for using on the camera rig itself, I think this is a fantastic bit of kit. It's also really reasonably priced. So you know, it's not going to break the bank, and if you are using a Shogun out on set a lot, I would get one definitely. You can see I've stuck my usual Coleman mount on the bottom so I can mount it on my arm. I'm actually shooting this using the Ninja for the first time in a long time, because I'm having to use my Shogun to show you this. But yeah, good bit of kit. I think it will protect this screen. It's nicely recessed back, doesn't get in the way, doesn't add too much weight. And you know, okay, maybe you might not want to use a director's handle situation, but this rod clamp is quite useful. You could use that to attach it to your camera. I don't, but you could. You could also use it to attach other things. Obviously, the 15mm rod system is pretty universal within film equipment. So there you go, the SmallRig Atomos Shogun cage. It's actually a really good bit of kit, well worth a look.